Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, it seems like Ukraine is losing too many tanks and armored vehicles, which is Leopard 2 and Bradleys. And they desperately, I would say, call out the Germans to send more and maybe the Americans as well. I don't know if they were so delusional to think that those weapons are invincible or something, are not detectable, but nevertheless the situation is they are blown up and they need more. Now, just as a we have before we go any further, let's agree on certain things. If you need to send more military in a war, that means you're losing over there, or you're not achieving your goals fast enough or not at all. That means if the Ukrainians desperately right now, after the counter-offensive started, ask or demand, I would say, more tanks and more, armored vehicles, I don't think things are going according to plan. Obviously, that could be details inserted in all this, like, oh, it's not fast enough, but we are advancing, which I think this is the point they're trying to make. What other point could they make? We're getting decimated and we're losing. No army would say that unless they want to stab themselves in the back, if you know what I mean. I'm pretty sure you know. All right, so let's go to this three articles I have. One from CNN, the trusted news network, and the other one is from the Ukrainians, and the last one is from the Russians. As always, I try to keep the Russians last to let you with the Russians' impression on things. And I start with this to CNN, which reports that Ukraine loses 16 US-made armored vehicles, group says, but Kiev forces still gain territory. So obviously, it's like you go to an interview and you are asked by your interviewer, tell me a time when you failed in achieving your goal. What did you do? What happened? How? Blah, blah, blah. And you start saying, well, it happened but after that, I figured it out. And after I figured it out, I trained, I practiced, I did whatever was necessary. And basically you show, yes, it was a setback, but I came back stronger. That's the point of all that. Same here. Yes, we're losing armored vehicles and tanks, but hey, we're winning, man. We're winning like there's no tomorrow. Okay. So let's say these guys are going to give us some numbers. I looked through the article already. So Ukraine has lost 16 US supplied armored vehicles in the past several days, according to open source intelligence analysts. Probably that's more, because these guys are trying to minimize it, and the Germans, yes, the Russians are trying to maximize the number. As the country's military announced, its forces has captured 3 villages from Russia in an offensive in the eastern Donetsk region. Now, all this, the advance, would be considered, or capturing, if the Russians would have done it, like, oh my God, that's embarrassing. But here, hey, yeah, they're advancing. The 16 US Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, either destroyed or damaged and abandoned in recent days, represent almost 15% of the 109 that Washington has given Kiev. I didn't know they sent them so many. So let's say in a week they destroyed 15%. So you got, what, about 2 months and they're all gone? I guess. So let's go to the next one, which is coming from Ukrainska Pravda. Ukraine asks Germany for more Leopard 2 tanks. So not only Bradleys are up, if you know what I mean, but also the Leopard 2 tanks are. This is from Monday, June 12, 2023. The other one was from today as well, June 12, 2023. So let's see what the Ukrainians are saying. Beautiful tank. I wonder if it works. Considering the first losses during the counteroffensive, Andrei Melnik, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, is asking for more German-made tanks. That means you know what I mean. They're losing it. But like in a war, it's supposed to happen. And this is what's important. The Ukrainian army desperately needs many more Western battle tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, and other armored vehicles, Melnik said. This comes from the Ukrainians. So the Ukrainian army desperately needs many more. Each Leopard 2 is literally worth its weight in gold for a decisive offensive, added the former ambassador of Ukraine in Berlin. In his opinion, the Bundeswehr is capable of providing, capable is one thing, willingness and desire is another one, of providing more than the 18 already delivered pieces from its stockpile of more than 300. So hey guys, you got more money to give us, give it to me. 18, so they lost almost, I would say, half, if I go by what the Russians also said. So they lost half of them in the first week. Now that's not good. Melnik also asked to hand over another 60 Marder infantry fighting vehicles to the Ukrainian army. So they asked Marder, this is German, they ask Leopard 2 tanks, and they ask Bradleys. Correct? Correct. So they basically everything. And let's see what the Russians have to say, which they accurately record. Sputnik report. Ukraine urges Germany to spare many more Leopard tanks after military setback. What they tell you, those guys advanced, they got 3 villages, these guys, oh, setback. Yeah, setback doesn't mean you reach your goals. Let's go get with that. So, let's see what's going on here. Let's talk about the same thing. Andriy Melnik, and he says the Russian Defense Ministry said over the weekend, or just the weekend, that Ukrainian armed forces lost 4 Leopards over the weekend and 5 US supplied Bradley fighting vehicles in an attempt to breach Russian defenses in the southern Donetsk and Zaporozhye regions. The Ukrainian army urgently needs many more Western battle tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, and other armored vehicles. Every Leopard 2 is literally as good as gold for the decisive offensive, Melnik told the German Daily in an interview published on Sunday. So let's see something else right here. According to the Ukrainian officials, I'm going to give you numbers here. Germany gave Ukraine only 18 Leopard 2 tanks from its armed forces stockpile of more than 300 tanks. Ukraine's EU allies pledged to muster more than 50 Leopard 2 tanks from their arsenal. If that's going to be it, add about 2 more weeks. I'm just kidding, you know. So that's 2 months, let's say 3 months. In 3 months, you're done with all your tanks if the things continue as they are right now. The same rhythm, which is not necessary to continue this way, could decrease or could increase. Melnik also asked for another 60 Marder tracked infantry fighting vehicles and reminded Berlin of Kiev's request to give it a tenth of Bundeswehr Puma tracked infantry fighting vehicles, Boxer wheeled armor fighting vehicles, Fuchs armored personal carriers, and Fennec armor reconnaissance vehicles. Why would they give you that? It seems to me, and this is something I don't really appreciate whatsoever, is when someone gives you as a gift something. They don't have to, by any contract, anything like that. They don't have to. Germany doesn't have to give Ukraine or Russia or Romania anything. They're not, obliged by any treaties. So you can call this I give you because I support you. But that's because I support you. I don't have any obligations. The thing without us fighting, the Russians will be at your doorstep. That's very much discussable because you kicked the Russians in the shin, not in the chin, in the shin, and now they're gonna punch you back. And now you want our help, and so all of a sudden it's us being attacked by the Russians because you kicked those guys in the shin at the order of the Zimbabwe from across Atlantic. Exactly. So they have no obligation. So these Germans give them these weapons, Mocha. I don't ask for money, and that required money from the German people. And then these guys come back and they demand urgently, quickly, I don't like that at all. And that happened all the time, and trying also to blame you for something. They try to make you guilty of something, build guilt. And that's very, how should I put it, very low. Very low. And if you remember, that's a certain attitude many of you may be familiar with, when you can help someone help without asking anything in return, just because, I don't know, you feel sad about it, you feel sorry about that person, or you want to see that person succeeding in whatever endeavor that person engages in. And you help that person, let's say, 5 years ago, and often enough, let's say, often. And then he comes today, or she comes today and says, hey, you didn't help me. And you say, what are you talking about? I helped you then, I helped you all the time. And she will tell you, or he will tell you, hey, you didn't do anything for me today. What did you do for me today? Like you're required to provide them with things that you did it with a good heart. Now, I don't like that. You would have nothing from me anymore just because of that, because that means your attitude is not the right attitude that I should support. But here is not about that kind of things. It seems the German people will still go and work with this inflation and their standard, and then the Americans as well, standard of living decreasing, but it's okay. They have billions, I said, billions of dollars to spare with someone else, the neighbor's kids, while your kids are starving. That's a very treacherous way of doing business, don't you think? Remember, the most important task of a politician, elected official, and his weasel appointees is to take care of the country. Now they switch it. They say, well, by supporting them with your money, without asking you if you want, we actually defend you. That's how you are required, not requested, required to think. This is your mental process. Actually, I'm not giving them nothing. Actually, I'm giving them so they can fight for our freedom. That's no such a thing. There's no such a thing. It's like I'm supposed to, I don't know, give people at, I don't even want to get into this, because, I don't have to give any analogies to make my point. This is the exact point. That's not like that. What happened in Ukraine did not happen because the American people. Well, if you want to look at it, yes, it could, because the American people voted an idiot in the office, and that idiot does the bidding of some other, and so on. But if it wouldn't have been this guy, there would have been another guy. Even though if you look at Trump, he didn't start any wars. It doesn't mean that you didn't postpone it. And then when this guy got elected, he did what probably Trump was probably about to do. It's like you push shit, postpone it, but it's still there and growing. And one day you have to face it. Now, I know there's many ways to face this kind of situations. Like these guys faced it, let's do it. Or like others would discuss and, maybe avoid this kind of destruction and what's going on in Ukraine and in our lives as well. You're going to see this on the long run. It's not only, now Ukraine and the war will end. No, you're going to see all this is like a big bump, and we can go bump down, or going down, or dip, going down, or it's just going to be like this. It depends what's going to allow us these ones, our elected officials. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. These guys want more weapons. Yes, you need them, but they sound desperate to me.